GOAT conversations are endless. LeBron or Jordan, Messi or Ronaldo? In every sport, greatness is debated. But in the NFL, the answer feels clear. On offense, it's Tom Brady. On defense, it's Lawrence Taylor, a player so dominant that coaches, teammates, and even opponents called him a different breed.
He's head and shoulders above whoever the next player is. And I've been fortunate to coach a lot of great defensive players, but if you talk about Lawrence Taylor now, that's a whole different conversation.
Lawrence Taylor's story begins in Williamsburg, Virginia. He was the oldest of 3 sons. His father, Clarence, a dispatcher, and his mother, Iris, a school teacher. As a kid, LT was restless and wild, so his parents turned to sports to keep him out of trouble. Ironically, football wasn't his first love. He started out playing baseball as a catcher. It wasn't until age 15 at Lafayette High School that his football journey began. One day, his coach spotted him in the hallway, big, strong, and raw, and convinced him to try out. At first, Taylor sat on the bench, learning the game. Then one night, he blocked a punt that won Lafayette the game. That moment changed everything. His coach knew he had something special. Taylor knew it too. Despite his growing talent, big college programs didn't notice him. He was late to the sport, but one school took a chance. The University of North Carolina. It would become one of the best decisions in UNC football history. Taylor began at UNC as a defensive lineman, but truly found his stride when he moved to outside linebacker. By his junior year, he had 5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and an interception. His speed, strength, and aggression were unmatched. Before his senior season, head coach Dick Crum said, "When Taylor has his mind on business, he's as good as there is. He just has to find that intensity every Saturday." Taylor did more than that. He delivered one of the best defensive seasons college football had ever seen. 69 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, 16 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. He became a unanimous All-American ACC Player of the Year in the heart of a defense that finished among the top 10 in the nation. His coaches described his play with 2 words: reckless and aggressive. He had no regard for his body or anyone else's. That reckless energy became his trademark. Draft night, the birth of a giant. By the 1981 NFL Draft, everyone knew Lawrence Taylor was special. 26 out of 28 general managers said they'd take him first overall if they could, but fate intervened. The New Orleans Saints chose running back George Rogers with the first pick. The New York Giants, picking second, didn't hesitate. With the second pick in the 1981 NFL Draft,
New York Giants first round selection, Lawrence Taylor, linebacker, North Carolina.
That single decision would redefine the franchise and the NFL, redefining the linebacker. From the first day of training camp, LT was unstoppable. He began on the 3rd-team defense and finished practice with the starters. By his rookie season, he was terrorizing quarterbacks in ways the league had never seen. Before LT, blitzing linebackers were secondary threats. After him, they became the centerpiece of every defense. He combined freakish strength with unmatched speed and an instinct for chaos. That year, he recorded 9.5 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. He became the first rookie ever to win Defensive Player of the Year, a record that still stands. Dominance and defiance. In 1982, despite a strike-shortened season, Taylor won Defensive Player of the Year again. Offenses began redesigning plays just to contain him, but nothing worked. He forced the NFL to evolve, turning outside linebackers into pass-rushing weapons. When Bill Parcells took over as head coach, he temporarily moved LT to an inside role, which caused friction. Even when frustrated, even when skipping practices, Taylor still finished the season with 9 sacks and became the first player in history named first-team All-Pro at 2 positions in the same year. The 1986 season, perfection in chaos. After a brief contract controversy and a stint with Donald Trump's USFL deal that never materialized, LT returned with vengeance. By 1986, he was at his peak. Ferocious, relentless, unstoppable. That season, he recorded 20.5 sacks, led the Giants to a 14-2 record, and captured his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year award. He also won NFL MVP, becoming one of only 2 defensive players ever to do so, and the first to win it unanimously. In Super Bowl 21, TD Mastichuri, Tikin Sil, Taylor led the Giants to victory over the Denver Broncos, securing the franchise's first Lombardi trophy. He wasn't just playing football anymore. He was rewriting its rules, the later years, and legacy. The following years were turbulent. Injuries, suspensions, and substance issues began to take their toll. But even through adversity, LT's fire never faded. In 1988, he famously played through a torn pectoral muscle against the Saints, recording 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in sheer agony. By 1990, at age 31, the Giants made him the highest-paid defensive player in the league. He rewarded them by leading New York to another Super Bowl win, this time over the Buffalo Bills. 3 years later, after 13 seasons, he finally hung up his cleats. "I've done everything I can do. I've been to Super Bowls. I've done things others haven't. After 13 years, it's time to go." An eternal legacy. Lawrence Taylor retired with 142 sacks, 33 forced fumbles, 9 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. He earned 8 first-team All-Pro selections, tied for the most ever by a defensive player. But statistics only tell part of the story. His true legacy lies in how he changed the game. He made left tackle the most important position in protecting the quarterback's blind side. He redefined how defenses attacked, how offenses blocked, and how greatness was measured. John Madden once said, "Lawrence Taylor changed the way defenses played, the way pass rushing is played, and the way offenses block linebackers." And Bill Belichick, who coached him in New York, summed it up best. "I had the honor of coaching the greatest defensive player in the history of football. He made me a great coach. What more needs to be said?" This is the legend of Lawrence Taylor, the man who turned defense into destruction and left an impact that the NFL still feels today. Lawrence Taylor retired with 142 sacks, 33 forced fumbles, 9 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. He earned 8 first-team All-Pro selections, tied for the most ever by a defensive player. But statistics only tell part of the story. His true legacy lies in how he changed the game. He made left tackle the most important position in protecting the quarterback's blind side. He redefined how defenses attacked, how offenses blocked, and how greatness was measured. John Madden once said, "Lawrence Taylor changed the way defenses played, the way pass rushing is played, and the way offenses block linebackers." And Bill Belichick, who coached him in New York, summed it up best. "I had the honor of coaching the greatest defensive player in the history of football. He made me a great coach. What more needs to be said?" But for Taylor, greatness wasn't just about numbers. It was about presence. Every time he stepped onto the field, stadiums buzzed with anticipation. You could feel the tension rise before the snap, as if everyone in the building knew something violent and extraordinary was about to happen. Quarterbacks feared him. Offensive coordinators lost sleep over him. Fans, even those rooting against him, couldn't look away. He played the game like a man possessed, reckless, relentless, and unfiltered. His style wasn't refined, it was raw power harnessed through instinct. There was no blueprint for LT, he was the blueprint. Generations of linebackers studied his film, mimicked his stance, copied his angles, and chased his chaos. Yet none ever truly became him. After football, Taylor's life wasn't without turbulence. He battled personal demons, faced headlines that tested his legacy, and lived through the consequences of a career and lifestyle that burned white hot. But even in those moments, the myth of LT never faded. Because legends aren't defined by perfection, they're defined by impact. Today, every edge rusher who lines up wide, every defensive coordinator who builds a scheme around pressure, owes a debt to number 56. His shadow still looms over the modern NFL. From Micah Parsons to TJ Watt, the echoes of Taylor's game ripple through every explosive sack and every collapsing pocket. In 1999, the NFL named him to its 75th anniversary team. 20 years later, he was again honored on the league's 100th anniversary roster. Decades had passed, yet his name remained etched at the top, unchallenged, undiminished. He never needed a microphone to make his case. His play spoke volumes. When he hit you, you remembered. When he roared, the stadium shook. When he celebrated, you felt the emotion of a warrior who knew he'd bent the game to his will. Lawrence Taylor didn't just play football, he transformed it. He brought fear back to defense, pride back to linebackers, and artistry to chaos. Ask anyone who saw him live, and they'll tell you LT wasn't chasing quarterbacks. He was chasing immortality, and he caught it. Because long after the lights dim, long after the highlight reels fade, and long after the debate of GOATs continues across eras, Lawrence Taylor's name remains untouchable. The man who turned defense into destruction, who redefined greatness with every hit, and whose number 56 will forever echo through the halls of football history. This isn't just a story of domination, it's the story of evolution, of how one man changed what was possible. Lawrence Taylor didn't follow the game's rules. He rewrote them. And that's why, when you talk about the greatest to ever do it, you don't just mention his name, you start with it.